ladies, Angela here. I can't wait to talk to you today about a topic that I think is so common for women as they move towards and into the menopause transition, and that is hot flashes. So I'm not just talking about, feeling like you need a fan on you every once in a while. I'm talking about waking up at night or even during the day and you are sweating. You're flashing, you're sweating. You can't do anything to bring that temperature down. It will come down eventually, but while you're in it, you just feel like you can't manage. You're wide awake, you're not able to get back to sleep, and there is a reason for this. When we have a hot flash, our cortisol levels, which is our response to stress, goes up. It goes through the roof high. And the catch-22 with this is part of the reason we can actually get the hot flash in the first place has to do with imbalanced cortisol levels. So I wanted to break down a myth for you right now, and that is that most women think that hot flashes are directly related to the falling hormone levels, estrogen and progesterone, particularly as they move towards and into menopause. And I will let you know that this is part of the equation for sure, but it's certainly not the only reason, and it's not the most common reason that women get hot flashes, believe it or not. Because not every single female suffers with hot flashes as they transition into menopause. This may sound strange. Maybe all your friends around you that are your age are also having hot flashes, but there may be one or two when you really start to ask around that are not. So if not every single female is having hot flashes as they move towards and into the menopause transition, we know it's not just about the lowering sex hormones, because if it was, every single female who went into menopause would have hot flashes, and that's actually not the case. So we need to figure out what the other potential causes could be. So I work with this with women in my practice day after day after day, and I'm also a female who is in perimenopause, very close to the menopause transition, and I do experience temperature fluctuations at particular points in my cycle. So I do know that there is a hormonal component to it for sure. Don't get me wrong, but I know that there's other root causes in combination with it, or that again, the hormones are not the primary reason why you're having hot flashes. So what happens when we have this flash, again, is the cortisol levels go up. Cortisol is our body's response to stress. And when we have a hot flash, it actually increases our cortisol even more. So again, that's why it can become a real wheel, a real cycle. But we have to figure out, why is the cortisol going up in the first place? Why is it potentially out of balance that could trigger a hot flash for us? Many, many common reasons are, number one, stress. Most women are busy women in their late 40s, early to mid 50s. They're on the go. They're working, they're taking care of home life, family life, life with aging parents or other family members. They're busy, often volunteering their time, and they're just givers of the world. So women are overloaded, they're maxed, they're burnt out, and their cortisol levels are not balanced because of this. So often women that have higher levels of stress, they have much more going on, or they have stressful life situations going on, tend to have more hot flashes. And again, the connection here is cortisol. Some women will have hot flashes, but they'll have extreme temperature fluctuations. They'll get really, really hot and flash, and then they'll also have times where they're really, really cold, and they can't seem to regulate their temperature that well. It's one extreme to the other. And this is more common when the trigger for the hot flashes, although cortisol causes this flash, the cortisol imbalances can come from imbalances with the thyroid gland. And this is not uncommon for women to have thyroid imbalances more commonly as they get into their late 40s and early to mid 50s. So we need to make sure that the thyroid is screened well, and that you're not just getting a TSH test, which everyone can get when they go and see a local practitioner in their area, but you're getting a complete thyroid panel, so we have a really good understanding and idea of how well the thyroid is functioning. So this is really important as well. Another reason that women can have hot flashes is because they have blood sugar imbalances. So this is super common as well. One of the most common reasons why women have blood sugar imbalances is because as hormone levels lower, especially estrogen, we are not as responsive to insulin production, which means if we eat the same amount of carbohydrate in our late 40s to early 50s as we did when we were in our 20s, we're not going to respond to it as well. It's going to spike our blood sugars, again, because we don't have enough insulin to respond to that sugar coming into that carb. And as soon as we have a rise in blood sugars, it sends our cortisol up. So many women tell me, I can't tolerate that glass of wine anymore. I feel almost a hot flash come on immediately, either during the time I'm having the glass of wine or later that night. And part of this, again, is because wine or or any alcohol spikes our blood sugars, again, more so now than it did in our 20s or early to mid 30s, and it can trigger cortisol to go up and trigger a hot flash. So I know it sounds like an unfortunate truth, but for many women, they need to cut back or even cut out things like alcohol, and they need to start to understand that the amount of carbohydrate that they're bringing in, whether it's from bread, grains, or sugary treats, typically needs to go down as we get into our 40s and early to mid 50s, especially if you are suffering from hot flashes. So many women that I work with have had just amazing changes for the better with their hot flashes when they reduce or almost completely cut out sugars. And you don't necessarily have to cut out all grain carbohydrates, but most women need to reduce a little bit from what they're doing. Ideally, a half cup of carb from a grain perspective, which is whole grain per day or less, is more desirable for women in this age group. And you may have been able to eat more of that in that exact same type and form when you were in your 20s or early to mid 30s. So these are just some things to think about for you. Hot flashes, when we're hot, we know we need a solution. And the solution temporarily might be opening the window, throwing the blankets off, putting an ice pack on your torso, and just trying to cool yourself down, getting in the cold shower. I get it. I totally understand, but it's not going to solve the problem or the root of why you have these hot flashes. So we need to get to the root of it. And that's what I do when I work with clients day after day after day. When they tell me they're having hot flashes, I make sure that we do the proper lab testing. I take a very detailed and thorough history to understand what specific tests need to be done for you. And then once we get the results, we can really start to understand where those hot flashes are coming from, and we can develop a plan for you to start rebalancing your body so that you're not flashing day and night, night and day. Because I know it impacts every aspect of your life. If you're not sleeping well, you're not functioning, you're probably not able to focus in everyday life, let alone work and the other things that you have to get done. It's probably affecting your relationship. You're probably moody, grumpy, irritable. Who wouldn't be if they're not sleeping well, if they're flashing all the time and they're feeling unwell because of it? Many women do report that they have changes to how they feel with their cravings as well. They crave more sugar and junk food and carbs, and this is common when you're not sleeping well. So it really kind of sets the whole system out of whack when we have these hot flashes. So there is a way to get the balance back. There is a way to actually get you stopping those flashes completely, and it doesn't necessarily require HRT. So I know women do typically go to this as their number one strategy, but I'm here to tell you that that works for some women, not all, and some women actually don't desire using hormone replacement therapy, especially for this sort of concern as they move towards and into menopause. So I want to let you know there is other strategies. That certainly is not the only one available to you, and it's not also the only one that potentially may work for you. So I'm happy to talk to you about your potential root cause for hot flashes and what we could do to help you come to a solution. So please feel free to reach out to me. You can go to my website, www.angelasimpsonfunctionalmedicine.ca. I'd be really happy to have a free complimentary consult with you to talk to you about this and talk to you about how to get it to a solution for it. And also, if you want to connect with me, you can connect through the contact link there at my website. If you are here watching this in my Facebook group, Functional Medicine for Hormonal Imbalances, you can DM me through Facebook. And if you're not in my Facebook group and you're watching this on YouTube or one of my other socials and you haven't joined my channel yet on Facebook, please join the private group called Functional Medicine for Hormonal Imbalances. It is a group for females that is in this age range that is suffering from symptoms as they move towards and into perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. And it helps women to have both a support group and also to help you understand what the strategies can be to help you feel vibrant and well through this time of life versus suffering. So thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for watching and being part of my channels. Please like if you like this video coming through, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Bye for now.